Welcome to the Deep Dive Protocol. I'm your host, Poet Woods. Now, you may have seen my strategies featured on NBC, CBS, and Fox News. But today, we're going deeper than sound bites. As a certified knowledge broker and transformational strategist, I know that success is 80% psychology. But as a Google certified AI performance specialist and an AI generalist, I also know that without the right systems, mindset is just a dream. My mission is to fuse these two worlds. In this episode, I've commissioned my AI intelligence team to deconstruct the code of the top 1%. We're stripping away the noise to reveal the real architecture of success. This isn't just a podcast. It's a reprogramming session. Get ready, because now it's time to think with an entrepreneur's mind. The protocol begins now.
Welcome to the debate. If you look around the digital landscape today, it's pretty clear. We've moved way past the era of information scarcity. We are now deep into the challenge of attention scarcity. Our source material, Interactive Video for Business Scaling, basically asserts that traditional linear media is, it's rapidly losing its effectiveness because it just can't adapt.
Exactly. And that's where our core disagreement is today. It's all about the future of video marketing. We're really debating execution versus, biology. The question is this: is that sophisticated, personalized engagement, the kind you get with interactivity, is it really worth the risk of adding friction for the user? Or does the proven neurological supremacy of passive linear video remain the better strategy for scaling?
Well, I'll be making the case for active, interactive video. I'm going to argue it's not just a tool for customization, but really the only effective mechanism for modern engagement and qualification.
And I will argue for the enduring power of low-friction, standard linear video. It is the gold standard for a reason. It aligns with how people are conditioned for, rapid message delivery and comprehension.
Okay, so my position is that linear video must remain the foundational standard. And that's a biological conclusion, not just a strategic one. Human behavior is, it's ruthlessly efficient. We prioritize ease and speed when we consume information. And our preference for video is, it's an evolutionary adaptation. The human brain processes visual information an incredible 60,000 times faster than it processes text.
Faster, sure. But is it better for actual retention or conversion? But the speed is the entire advantage. Text requires this high-friction cognitive decoding. Linear video offers what we call speed to understanding. It translates a value proposition passively, instantly. We know that consumers retain 95% of a message when they watch a video compared to a meager 10% when they read it in text. So if our goal is maximum retention with minimum effort, why would you add interaction, the click, the choice? You immediately reintroduce cognitive friction and stall the sales message. The passive delivery of a linear video ensures the story you want to tell actually lands just as you intended.
That's an interesting point, rooted in processing speed, but I would frame the context a little differently. I believe the era of passive monologue viewing is, it's functionally obsolete. Linear video has hit a point of diminishing returns precisely because it's monolithic. It delivers one script, one generic call to action to this incredibly diverse audience. It's treating every single viewer as if they're identical, and that homogeneity is what caps conversion rates.
But monolithic ensures universal clarity. You get clarity before complexity.
I'd argue true success requires shifting from just broadcasting to interacting. And this is where the 30X strategy comes in. It's a framework that posits that for any given product, there are at least 30 distinct psychological entry points. Think about a high-ticket business coach. You aren't selling to a business owner. You're selling to the stalled scaler, or the exit strategist, or the overwhelmed operator. Each one needs a totally unique narrative.
And you're proposing that one video can handle 30 distinct narratives. That sounds like a technical nightmare.
It is the only logistically scalable way to do it without creating 30 separate, very expensive linear videos and 30 landing pages.
Interactive video compresses all of that complexity into a single asset. It uses simple branching logic, a single click from the user, to accommodate all that human desire and motivation. It ensures the message the viewer sees is always hyper-relevant to their specific problem.
Core debate? 1. The friction versus micro-commitment conflict. Okay, let's address that single click right now because that really is the battleground. Introducing a click, it interrupts the passive flow. It violates that core principle of speed to understanding. You risk the user disengaging completely out of, well, laziness, or more accurately, because they're conditioned to just scroll infinitely. Linear video's great advantage is that it stops the scroll and captures attention precognitively. You're asking the brain to engage and make a choice right at that first point of contact. That friction is a stop sign.
I see why you'd call it a barrier, but let me give you a different perspective, one from behavioral science. Friction, when you manage it correctly, isn't a barrier, it's a priming mechanism. We're leveraging the psychological principle of micro-commitments, the foot in the door technique. If I ask a really low-friction question like, are you a business owner generating over $500,000 annually, the user exerts almost no effort.
And if they don't want to answer that question, they're gone, instantly. You've just sacrificed your reach for an early qualification.
But if they do click, they've changed. They are now psychologically primed for consistency. So by the time the video asks for a macro commitment, like an email address or booking a call, they're already invested. And the data is absolutely definitive here. Interactive videos generate 3 times more conversions than static ones, precisely because of this priming effect. The user transforms from a passive observer into an active participant.
I'm just not convinced the risk outweighs the reward on cold traffic. You're focused on conversion quality, which is more of a mid-funnel behavior. You're neglecting the fragility of just capturing attention at the top of the funnel. Most users expect zero friction. That's what years of YouTube and Netflix has done. And you're asking them to break a very powerful habit.
Well, the cost of the tooling is coming down fast. But more importantly, the cost of not qualifying traffic is far, far greater. We use the relevance created by that choice to bypass the brain's internal spam filter, the reticular activating system, or RAS.
2. Relevance and data quality. The RAS, for anyone who might not know, is basically the brain's filtering system. It decides what information is relevant enough to even pay attention to. Generic marketing gets filtered out almost universally, but when a user selects, I am a financial advisor, and the video instantly pivots to talk about compliance complexity or high lead cost in that industry, suddenly the content is perceived as personal. That is relevance theory in action. High cognitive effect for a really low processing effort. A single click. This is why interactive video engagement rates hit 66%, compared to what, 44% for linear? I'm not totally convinced by that line of reasoning, because, yes, personalization is appealing, but linear video already captures incredibly valuable passive data. Watch time, completion percentage, drop-off points. You're right that interactive video increases relevance, but it requires the customer to do the work of self-segmenting. You're forcing them to expend effort. And you keep dismissing the huge, undeniable value of linear video's 95% information retention. Why would you risk that proven retention rate by distracting the user with a bunch of choices?
Because you're equating the quantity of passive engagement data with the quality of intent data. Passive watch time tells me if someone saw the message. It doesn't tell me why they saw it or what they're going to do next. The data collected by interactive video is what we call zero-party data. Information the customer intentionally, explicitly shares with you. That data is pure gold. It represents their current psychological state.
But the scalability seems limited, especially for high-volume campaigns. Linear video ensures I get metrics from everyone who hits the page. Interactive forces qualification right away, so it limits my sample size. What if someone just answers a question wrong to get to the next part and they pollute your so-called gold data?
The real economic value is the 30-fold increase in data points per prospect and the collection of high-intent, self-segmented information. When a salesperson takes a call from an interactive funnel, they don't start from scratch. They already know the prospect's pain points, their goals, their budget, before the call even begins. The sales call transforms from an interrogation into a prescription.
3. Economic impact and engagement loss. And this leads us right to the fundamental economic argument, mitigating the tire kicker tax. Linear video funnels suffer immensely from this. The tire kicker tax is the annual cost of unqualified prospects just consuming expensive human and digital resources.
Can you define that tax a bit more clearly? Of course, for a high-ticket service like executive coaching, this tax adds up fast. It's the cost of wasted time for your sales team chasing leads that have no budget. It's the unnecessary CRM seats, the scheduling software for meetings that go absolutely nowhere. We estimate that for a mid-sized B2B sales team, this can result in an annual loss of about $225,000, all due to wasted labor hours.
Okay, that is a compelling argument about the cost of inefficiency. I agree, filtering is vital in the mid-funnel.
And interactive video acts as an automated gatekeeper. It asks the hard questions up front. Do you currently have a budget for this? If the prospect says no, the funnel automatically routes them to a low-cost downsell, like an ebook. It protects the sales team's time so they can focus on people who are actually ready to buy.
I agree that qualification saves money, but what about the emotional investment you sacrifice? Linear video builds trust through an uninterrupted narrative. That's critical for high-ticket sales. By interrupting that flow with, sometimes harsh qualification questions, you risk alienating a prospect who might otherwise have been convinced by the full story. The goal of that initial video is connection. Branching logic slows that down.
But that premise that interruptions lead to abandonment, it's just disproven by the completion data. Interrupting the flow with a highly relevant question doesn't cause fatigue, it leads to ownership. Look at the metrics. Interactive videos see completion rates of a stunning 90%. Standard linear videos struggle to keep even 50% of viewers past the halfway mark.
90%? A 90% completion rate that's an incredible statistic for any video content on the internet. How is that even possible if you're adding friction?
It's amplified by what marketing psychologists call the IKEA Effect. The theory states that when users invest even a tiny bit of effort, a simple click, to assemble their own sales pitch, they gain this strong sense of psychological ownership. We value the bookshelf we built ourselves more than the one that came pre-built. It's the same thing. This ownership dramatically increases the perceived value of the offer. It also leads to interactive content being shared 29% more often. The friction, it is, in fact, the key to superior engagement, hitting click-through rates of up to 11% compared to the 1 or 2% standard for linear video.
I still maintain that for initial cold traffic capture, for maximizing that fundamental speed to understanding, the low-friction nature of linear, passive video remains critical. It minimizes cognitive effort, and it ensures that the visual message is retained at 95%. While the vetting power of interactive video is clear for, say, mid-funnel lead nurturing, we have to be careful not to sacrifice that breadth of initial reach for a niche depth of data too early on. You need volume before you can qualify.
I come at it from a different way. Linear video treats prospects like a monolithic group. That inherently caps your conversion rates because it guarantees irrelevance for most of your viewers. The statistical evidence is just overwhelming. By leveraging micro-commitments, the IKEA Effect, the 30x strategy, interactive video transforms a passive viewer into an active participant. Those 90% completion rates and dramatically higher conversions prove that strategic, managed friction isn't a tax on attention. It's the fundamental mechanism for generating high-intent leads and reclaiming the resources lost to that tire kicker tax.
We can agree that video is, without a doubt, the dominant medium of choice for modern business.
Absolutely. So the debate really pivots entirely on execution. Is the optimal path defined by broadcast simplicity for mass retention? Or is it an architectural complexity hidden beneath a simple click for hyper-personalized qualification? We'll leave it to the listener to weigh whether the risk of that click is worth the reward of relevance.
The transmission ends here, but the construction project is just beginning. Now, I've told you to go get the blueprint, but you need to understand, I'm not just sending you there to download a PDF. I'm sending you to the armory. The blueprint is the central command station for an entrepreneur's mind. When you step inside, you aren't just getting scripts. You're getting access to the full scope of my agency's heavy artillery. The AI appointment bots to clone your sales team and book calls while you sleep. The interactive video engines that turn passive viewers into active buyers. The Dirty Dollars OS to automate your access acquisition. And even the legal architectures and biohacking fuel you need to protect and power your empire. And so much more. We have the tech, the strategy, the protection, and the protocol. It's all waiting for you behind one door. Go to anentrepreneursmind.com/blueprint. Stop playing with the pieces of the puzzle. Come get the whole picture. Initiate the protocol. I'll see you on the inside. Stay focused, and as always, straight ahead.